All right, we're going to get into the story here about Hakeem Jeffries. This is something I've been warning people about. Just because, some of these candidates are now getting to the point where they're saying that they're not going to take money from AIPAC, but they're still taking money and they're doing it in a sneaky way. And Hakeem Jeffries is a part of that. So this was called out recently by Drop Site News. There's something shady going on here, folks. Check this out. A shadow super PAC that appears linked to Hakeem Jeffries is swooping in NC4 to back Valerie Foushee over Nida Alam, a rematch of a race AIPAC spent $2 million plus to win in 2022. This appears to be a new backdoor way in for AIPAC, funneling through Hakeem Jeffries. This PAC also spent $350K in New Jersey 11, where AIPAC accidentally boosted anti-Zionist and Alila Magia. They're spending over $257,000, mostly on broadcast in NC4. So let me break this down for you folks, because Ryan Grimm was calling this out. And Gen X Girl tried to warn people about this last year. But long story short, they know that people are watching the money now. They know that people are checking to see where these candidates are getting money from by using open secrets is the biggest one to use, right? So AIPAC decided to get sneaky. They're basically using Hakeem Jeffries as a vehicle where, because you already know that Hakeem takes money from AIPAC, they're basically going through him. And then he is then endorsing and supporting these other candidates, still funneling in the AIPAC money. So this is why I said it's not enough for a candidate to say that they're just not going to take money from AIPAC. AIPAC has become more sneaky, more sly, and they found other ways to get that money through, hoping that you don't notice it. Ryan Grimm shows you here the PAC spent the money backing Tahisha Way, AIPAC's preferred but ill-fated candidate in New Jersey 11. Now they're spending over $250K plus for Foushee. This comes after Hakeem Jeffries named Foushee to be one of the three Dems on an AI task force, which then invited huge $700,000 and counting AI money to get in behind her. So here's a PAC here, Schedule E, Independent Expenditures. Here's the filing number. Here's the committee, Article 1 PAC, ALAL. Sorry, I thought that was AI. AL Media LLC. And this is what they do, guys. They have these other PACs. He called them shadow PACs. I think that's the right term. They have these other PACs that they use, like AL Media, or it could be named anything else. And they'll use this to funnel money through. So you can see it here. Name of federal candidate supported or opposed by expenditure, Tahisha Way. Amount expended. Look at all the money here. Over $350,000, right? So they use these shadow PACs to donate money to a candidate without you knowing that they're donating the money. So instead of using just a super PAC, they're now using a shadow PAC. And that's how they still get those candidates to do their bidding. So you might think that you're supporting someone that says, well, that person said they're not going to take AIPAC money. I checked open secrets. They're not taking money from the pro-Israel lobby. I'm going to support them. But they are still taking money from the pro-Israel lobby. They're doing so through shadow PACs. And Hakeem Jeffries is one of the vehicles that's being used to do so. In fact, if we go back, he was sharing this here from Gen X Girl. Here's why it's a backdoor for AIPAC. They're giving to Jeffries, who then gives to the candidates. Gen X Girl noticed it. Matthew Eady recently discovered how AIPAC is hiding its donations using 3 campaigns for Hakeem Jeffries. I created a graphic to help you understand how the secret campaigns are structured and why you won't be able to see AIPAC in FEC filings, but AIPAC will still be able to track donations through unique IDs and show candidates how much their network has donated to buy pro-Israel votes. And this is a good example here, how AIPAC is hiding pro-Israel donations. So if you use Hakeem Jeffries as a vehicle, he's right here, right? AIPAC donates money to him. Hakeem Jeffries, it says here, please contribute to Jeffries' Victory Fund. Here's another example. Contribute to Jeffries' Victory Fund. You see all these victory funds? So AIPAC is donating money to Hakeem Jeffries' Victory Fund. Hakeem Jeffries then in return donates to other candidates. And that's how AIPAC can say we're funding those candidates as well. Hakeem Jeffries is a tool. He's being used as a tool. This is how sneaky he is. But see, remember when we said Hakeem Jeffries had to go, all these people from DSA and etc. said, no, you can't remove him because he's the minority speaker. He has to stay there. This guy been bought and paid for. He takes a lot of money from the pro-Israel lobby. AIPAC directs its donors to the pro-Israel network using the website and via email campaigns. Pro-Israel Network uses Democracy Engine as its payment processor. Donations are recorded as individual donations from Democracy Engine. In the back end, each pro-Israel network campaign is recorded with a unique ID. If we come back here, it was Matthew Eady who realized this. I think we covered this last year about Democracy Engine. That's another one that's being used to funnel money from AIPAC. And so if you were to go to Open Secrets, oh, they took that down, I see. If you were to go to Open Secrets, you would only see that they got money from Democracy Engine or that they received money from Hakeem Jeffries' Victory Fund. But you would no longer see that they got money from AIPAC, even though they did. So they're sneaky. And I'm willing to bet if they're using Hakeem Jeffries, they're probably using other politicians as well. I would look into Richie Torres. I would look into all of them. So this is why I say you really got to be grassroots. You really do. Now, I've had it podcast a while back when she was interviewing Joy Reid. She said that she does not think Hakeem Jeffries should have to leave. Listen to what she's saying now.
Hakeem Jeffries is compromised and he needs to resign. Serious members of the Progressive Caucus have got to quit playing patty cake with this guy. He is a corporate dim through and through, and he is a fascist collaborator. There's no question that Chuck Schumer is as well, but we will not retain our democracy with the Democratic Party taking money from Palantir. We are not going to retain our country with the Democratic Party taking donations from AIPAC. The corporate Dems are controlled opposition. Chuck Schumer is controlled opposition, and it gets worse, you guys. It gets worse.
Pause here for a second, right? So Hakeem Jeffries is also helping out Palantir, AIPAC, but this is the guy that DSA told you should not have a challenger. He does have a challenger. Vance Bostic is running against him, but people don't want to interview him. I brought him on because he doesn't have the approval of DSA. They don't want to talk to him. I don't know if I've had a podcast knows that Hakeem Jeffries has a challenger, but the ones that I do know don't want to talk to him because he doesn't have the approval of DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. What are we even doing? Because the word went around that Hakeem has to stay. So I'm going to say it again. Either you support candidates that take money from the Israel lobby or you don't. I don't support candidates that take money from the Israel lobby, but they can't come in and make these exceptions for Hakeem Jeffries. And I see now Jennifer from I've Had It podcast, I see now she's changing her tune. Let's continue on.
Pop this up. Matthew Eady recently discovered how AIPAC is hiding its donations using 3 campaigns for, you guessed it, Hakeem Jeffries, aka AIPAC Shakur. I created a graphic to help you understand how the secret campaigns are structured and why you won't be able to see AIPAC and FEC filings, but AIPAC will still be able to track donations through unique IDs and show candidates how much their network has donated to buy pro-Israel votes. And here is the graph. You can see it here, AIPAC. And then we have the democracy engine. 3 of these that are funneled through Hakeem Jeffries. So let's review here. Keep this up.
So the way that you fight back against this is that you have to support candidates that run grassroots campaigns. That's it. You cannot support candidates like Hakeem. I don't care if they say something good about, well, yeah, I think we should expand Medicare or something like that. No. You have to look at the money. You got to follow the money. So if they're not running a grassroots campaign, don't give them your votes. Hakeem should have been gone. He wasn't supposed to be there anyway. The guy he was running against, Charles Barron, and that's who he was running against. Charles Barron was beating him in the polls. Then all of a sudden, this anti-Semitism smear comes out against Charles Barron. Oh, how convenient. And Hakeem Jeffries jumps up in the polls. Now, Hakeem won't talk about this, but I will. And I've often pointed this out. I wonder if his team was behind this. That's how Hakeem Jeffries won that seat, for those who are not aware. Charles Barron was beating him. Charles Barron was a Black Panther. He's pro-Palestine. And just like that, the pro-Israel lobby came in and made sure that Hakeem would get that seat. They've done it time and time again.
Hakeem Jeffries is Palantir first. Hakeem Jeffries is Israel first. How can Hakeem Jeffries care about immigrant children when he doesn't care about Palestinian children, and he takes money from a genocidal government that's ran by a war criminal, a far-right fascist war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu, that funded Hamas? And then you see all this money they're filtering in to candidates. And so here's how it works, you guys. AIPAC directs its donors to the pro-Israel network website via email campaigns. And then the pro-Israel network uses Democracy Engine as its payment processor. That's AIPAC Shakur. That's Hakeem Jeffries. And then donations are recorded as individual donations from Democracy Engine. In the back end, each pro-Israel network campaign is recorded with a unique ID. The Democratic Party cannot be for a blank check to Israel, who is run by a war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu. We cannot be this party. This is a uniparty. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are controlled opposition, full stop. They take money from MAGA donors, and then they get on camera and lie to the American people. And you might say, Jennifer, quit browbeating Democrats. I can get on here all day long and I can browbeat Republicans, because tomorrow Trump's going to do something more illegal, more unethical. He's going to cover up more child rape stuff from the Epstein files. It's going to happen every single day, and the Republicans are going to allow him to do it. But the Democrats have to be in opposition. And when you find out the Democratic leadership is taking money from Palantir and AIPAC and God knows who else, and then you keep thinking, why aren't they putting up a resistance? Why aren't they opposing him at every turn? Why aren't they saying abolish ICE? Why aren't they saying no more blank check to Israel? No, we're stopping that. Absolutely not cooperating with a war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu.
So one thing I want to push back on here is that she said they're MAGA donors. There's no such thing as a MAGA donor. There's no such thing as a progressive donor, Democrat donor, MAGA donor. They're just donors. I don't understand why people try to separate these things. There is no such thing as a MAGA donor. They are donors, and they will donate to any candidate that is willing to do their bidding. That's how it works. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys, but I've been saying this for years. A lot of these donors donate to the same parties, Republican and Democrat. They don't care. They just want to see who is going to do their bidding. The only way that you can seriously wash away from this is you got to support people that have grassroots campaigns funded by the people, not by AIPAC, not by, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, United Healthcare. That's how you do that. But this is something I would say, and I feel like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes even on the liberal side, some of the liberals still kind of like feel like there's MAGA donors and there's, Democrat. No, they're just donors. And people that got money that are donating to candidates, they will donate to anyone that is willing to fulfill their agenda. We literally have corporations that are writing legislation. You get what I'm saying? We have lobby interest groups that are writing legislation. So the money is a big part of the problem. So I noticed a lot of people were losing it online when that information came out, and they were like, oh my gosh, it was like all hell broke loose when people heard that Hakeem Jeffries was doing this. But people have been talking about this for years. So I'm glad more people are waking up. But yeah, man, anytime this guy was more focused on a hip hop day instead of feeding people, giving people health care, that should have told you everything that you needed to know. And you even see here, what did I tell you? Even when it came to the War Powers resolution, Hakeem Jeffries, who held off on a War Powers resolution long enough for Trump to go start the war before it came to a vote, does not condemn Trump's attack in his initial response. The party leadership, as we reported last week, is eager to see Trump launch this war. Hakeem Jeffries knows how to play the game. And Hakeem Jeffries knows that there is a certain image he's supposed to present to his base. And then there's what happens behind closed doors. At the end of the day, a lot of these people, they're just working for their donors. I don't know. It's kind of like people see them on these separate teams. And Hakeem Jeffries, he talks a lot about MAGA and he criticizes MAGA. And you'll see this happen on the Republican side. They criticize the Democrats, right? But at the end of the day, it's like Michael Johnson, good grief, Michael Jordan, sorry. It's like Michael Jordan wearing a Bulls jersey on the court in front of the public, but behind the scenes, he puts on a Lakers jersey. Behind the scenes, all these people have the same agenda in common, and that is to do the bidding of their donors and to protect the status quo. That's what their donors want. That's why they don't want you to go too far left, because that doesn't benefit corporations. That's how it works. So publicly, Hakeem Jeffries will pretend like, I'm outraged. Oh my God, Trump is crazy, blah, blah, blah. But behind the scenes, they agree with what he is doing that protects the status quo. They nod their heads, him and Chuck Schumer, and that's how they're still there. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.